Means all of us together, you know, together, the whole family together, Haji, Bakul, and the Nosago, everybody in between, everything. Mara is people. Welcome to the Hazara Pioneers Library on a Munji strategy at Mechidtv. So let's look at the reflection of Bidil's enlightening formula. Chizmagya, agar ibrat rahe tahqiq matlab sar konad bedil tan 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 tan. Yani chi, yani ki ibrat se bol abhi dardmand Wazir's daughter is most painful story. Ya qatre ashk diga az tarikh mi cheka az time tarbikhi idna muftad ar zamin. Pain agar the ibrat tabdil nashna او اموج the pain him and the harm manda o agar pukhta shud personal pain ya national pain mani cultural narrative to ikhtisel nimagi this is a national pain, it's a collective identity. I'm not talking about my personal identity, I'm talking about my collective identity, my native identity, my natural environment where my mother tongue is spoken and where my father lung is speaking. Agar ibrat yani mo چیز ibrat bigri mo dastan khandar ibri mit bishni ke mazid dardra bari ibrat I dard kona yana agar nau dardra tu me khai ki dalil chir bufami tu ek dafa kona dard sel ko kash ko ek dafa was ko agar ibrat rahe tahqiq matlab sar kona al tu ek dafa pain khabar shun ki ibrat chuni chi qadar pain tu nazar dare amo qadar tu stretch mani pas irqam on mo qadar tu future mingerni واز مشا راه تحقیق مطلب انزی جواز مشا ضروری برو انزی والا ای را دبره زمین بله پای نہیں آئے it's not for the pie it's for the eye انتر horizontal انتر واز مشا یا انتر واز مشا vertical اگر عبرت رहे تحقیق مطلب sir oh ma I see more. So if you see the case हम ज़रूर की FIR दर्ज के देते हो historical FIR बाद as genocide of the Hazaras in 1893 1891 onwards which continues in the beginning of 21st century too. So you pay shpadi then that you are suppressed and oppressed and depressed and suppressed and exiled and broken and damaged and but what we are confident about is that you may be suffering physically but maybe morally in terms of morale it is high. We have examples. That's why we sit here from the platform of the Bakul, collective Bakul, the high-performing Bakul, the Panir, the Hazara Panir, the symbol of performance, high performance, any sort of competition. But one thing which we need to be ibrat about is to ask this question, that was the pioneer Bakul a warrior alone, or was he a scholar warrior? Oh, what does that mean? That means कि मतलब scholar is going to learn. Scholar कारशे में है ना कि वो learn मुकना. In the school of life, उसे भी तो learning कर रही है. कि इबरत भी रहा. बस तू सेलमोनी in case of historical perspective कि because of in being escaping the genocide during the Great Game in the end of 19th century, when the remnants of the Hazaras rise again and start finding a space to live in Balochistan, in Sialkot particularly, and scattered around, building this place. But then what we can learn from is that we have at most in general the rank of Subedar only. Why not higher ranks? Because of no literacy and scholarship and reading and mental capacity and performance in here. But we do have the poster boy of the Hazara pioneers' legacy, General Muhammad Musa Khan, the legend of Jawan to General. In terms of performance, So that is what we are picking up from the grandfather or collective grandfather, especially the Hazaras of Balochistan and subcontinent and Indian subcontinent from that period. So agar ibrat rahe tahqiq matlab sar konad bedil is horizontal and vertical is opened up. Tahqiq matlab yani you understand what's the meaning of this, why it's happening to me. Hamin yak pesh pa didan ba uqba mibarad mara means suddenly we understand the super world. And just to give you a little bit of, in the end, a little bit of etymology of uqba. Uqba comes from aqab, Arabic word, aqab, behind you, like a shadow, exayawri. Taqib, bataqib budan. Yani whatever is in front of me, agar ma hal khur khabar shnu ki ma da chi alam, mara majbur mona ki ma fikr karam ki ikhu ma kist kadadam kel dirawnam. Mara da aqab mobra, yani ma da tamami consequences ra khud ma realize manam ki this is what I have done to myself. So hopefully through the law of karma, you can understand the science of it. And we wish that aqubat is bakhair. It means whatever consequences we are going to face tomorrow is based on today. So the more we know about the past and learn as the consequence of those pains, then we have moved on from the pain and we have started becoming scholars, we have started learning. And with that learning, we will see what else we can learn about the Afghan society at the end of 19th century through the prism of the story of Gul Begum in the Vizier's Daughter tale written by LILLIAS Hamilton, printed in 1900 in London as she was serving in Kabul at that time. Chapter 32, With the Tide, Hamrai Mauj. After that, for a time, Halima's visit became much more frequent than they had been. Halima Ziyad Moramaya, she sought more opportunities for speaking with her daughter alone. and always left her agitated or else depressed and low-spirited. همیشه اوقات تلخیز ربور مکد همیشه او چی کده یکو غم داده تابل چی کده بالس مرافق. Muhammad Jan was evidently watching all that concerned the girl he claimed as his wife most actively. و در تمام از قصه ها محمد جان مش داره بود که ودم بالزی میخه پس. And his only object could be revenge. أنا اللي أقول چیزی انتقامه. He could want nothing else from her now. She could bring him no dowry, جیز خو دیدن نمیتونه. And her father could help him to nothing in the way of position in these days of his adversary city. تزی روز بدبختی خو کدام ایسیدم نداره که از خاطر زو مثلا ما برم که ما دختر بگیرم. Sometimes after her mother had gone, however, a sort of reaction would set in and the girl would be unusually gay. اوقات تلا مشود خبرای بد می آورد باز و ازیاد مکد تشویش مبتلا مکد باز یک لحظه باز واپس اوقات خوش مشود. It occurred to her at times that the old lady took extraordinary pains to harrow her feelings. And the idea would come to her that perhaps she did it to try and incite her to make more effort to secure her own safety by obtaining the protection that would necessarily be enjoyed by the legally married wife of the so high an official as was the chief secretary. چیز ورد خنده می ورد که تمام این داستان را پشت سر خود الامام اینجا غراز دراز خود خو که برای محمد جان القاسی جور دو که مثلا ما يرد بيترسنم كي آخر مجبور شنا كي أنمي فعل قرآن فعل بنامزي بوفتا وإنمي خاتو بور خاتو چیف سكرتريشنا ای غرضو حواسي حليمايا که بعد زو بز ما دیگه خصوصا مادری چیف سكرتري جور مشم نه. And this idea tended to calm and comfort her by shutting out from her mind and reports and messages that were brought. إني رقمه أمير رقم أوقات تلق مشروط بازو ديك أفسانة خود خود بازي مدد. But on the occasion of her mother's next visit, she would again feel upset and miserable. باز كيوكي مهمات بازي قوة متر شروع مشروطي تشويش. She does not understand, poor mother, the girl said to herself. She does not realize that what my agha is. How far above an ordinary girl like me. By which it will be seen that Gul Begum had learnt true love's first, most invariable and most remarkable lesson. ازی معلوم شد این یک علامتی بود که اصلا امکان نداشت که خود در مقابل آقا ببینه به این معنی که یکی از علامتهای یک واقعا که تو در محبت دل تو در محبت گرفتار میشه بس تو یک خاصیت پیدا نی. She had learned humility. عاجزی یاد گرفته بود. ये सच्ची मोहब्बत का निशानी है भाई. She thinks he is just like any other everyday man. قد خود فكر ना मगई فكر ना किए वो मतलब मर्द क्या है given to pleasures and luxuries and money earning. فقط بخور وخاو को فهمي دي कि चंद चुत ما चंद पैसा कमाई एकदम general public रही फिक्र ना मुर्खा में खबर इजनी क्या गाइस में किया. She knows nothing of his plans for the education. وش خبره कि ये नफर चक़दर द फिक्री تعلیم تربیه از ملت است. And general amelioration of the condition of people. و سطح زندگی مردم کم بهتر شونه. Nothing of his schemes for this poor wretched country. که این ملک و ملت بدبخت برای این چیز که چی برنامه های خوب جور کرده طراحی کرده تیار کرده و چی مفهمه. She does not even know as my agha does that it is a wretched country. واقعاً هیچی مفهمه که ملک و ملت چقدر بدبخت است و آقای من خوب مفهمه. She does not know that he never thinks of himself. is always arranging and thinking for others. کار از او خدمتی دیگر روی او از خود خود نمیرسه. Planning to get his men out of some difficulty. یه از او مشکلات نجات بده. او از او مصیبت نجات بده. Or that one some better post or pay. That he is indeed a living saint who he eschewed all earthly desires and lives only for his God and to benefit the human race. خدمت خلق رضای پروردگار. Thus mused this wild mountain girl. دمی فکرها رفت کی نمفهمه گواره. ای دختری کوهستانی. Idealizing the object of her dreams of a deep, undying, self-sacrificing love as many another and far shallower nature idealizes every day, not appreciating in the least, in the case of her beloved, the very mixed motives by which even the best of us are influenced. Nor could she in the least have understood the ambition, the actual craving for popularity and fame that formed so prominent a feature of the Chief Secretary's character. What did she know of the wide world and the reputation that it is possible for the very few to gain it, or of the intoxicating joy of being the idol of the hour? Neither did she understand the exact cause of his constant restlessness and uneasiness. Though sometimes, when he came home irritable and dissatisfied, instead of bright and gay as he had done so when she first knew him, he would tell her he was in trouble and that he had many enemies. خب این مربوط به چیف سکرتری میشه که یک روز کیومای همش متر سری حاله لیکن از کورت از شکایت از ناله داره که ما دشمنای از ما مردال نمیله داره. My father says that those who are great and good must always have enemies during their lifetime. آدمای برحق در زندگی خو همیشه دشمن داره. اگر نداره او در حقش نیه او. She would answer. Gulbegum says, it is only after they are dead and there is no longer any cause for jealousy that men remember their good deeds and would recall them if they could. You must not notice these harpies, and her innocent flattery would soothe and comfort him. بس ای گوی زو کم دلش خوش میکنه بوده. و وقتی که از او نجات یافت گور که زمین گور کرد باز میگه واه ایت خوب آدم بود ای بابای تو کشتی نه خوب آدم را بایی از جلسی خور کشتی از حسد کشتی تو از سرشیخی کشتی تو محبت نیه بایی وگرنه عاجزی بود دیگه نه. More often though she would just keep silent, merely answering with a sigh or gesture that meant quite as much as words, more perhaps. Then kneeling down beside him, she would massage his shoulders and head in the regular Oriental fashion. هیچ فقط مصروفی کار بیشی همونجی او جواب بدی سکوت اختیار کو بس بیا شانهش را لغا کو سرش را مساج کو آرامیش بدی. As he sat waiting for a meal or for the answer to some message he had sent, at that time she would simply remain sitting in the room where he was writing. وقتی نان وغیره وقتی که چیز پیش از نان مساج وغیره کو آرامیش بدی باز نان که وردی باز پالیش بیشی که چیز دکار خونیه همیشه منتظر باش که ما چیز سری حال درسته آماده. Or وقتی که نوشته مکد waiting to do his bidding, a silent figure, یک موجودی خاموش, anticipating his wants almost before he felt them himself. اقدر خبرش دست پیش که چیز دکارش نوری میشه مگه همزی دکارتیه. Yet he hardly seemed to notice her. مثلا فقط بگی کسی وجود نداره اینجا. This girl on whom so much of the comfort of his daily life depended. يقدر آرامش رو برنامه ریزی که دید ده نظر زیاد نمایا. She's my slave. He would have said. اگر کسی پرسان مکد مگفت خو غلام ده کنیز چیز کارش مویا. That is her duty. So he received all and gave nothing in return. مثل که آبیش گفتد که مرتکوی نرخمه. فقط یعنی میخواه چیزی تو رو داده نمیتونه. بیدی. One day Halima came in with a special budget of news. خبر آورده. She had met Muhammad Jan in the melon market. بازار خربوزه. And he had asked her just to step into his house. خانه گفت بیا یک دفعه داخل بریم. بفرمایید. Which was quite close, نزدیک. I tell you, my dear child, his house is nearly as good as آغاز. خیلی خوب خانه بود. مربوط خانه خوب. نشان داد. Not so well furnished. Furniture چندان نداره. Of course, where would he get the carpets from? قالین مالین خو نیه and shawls and curtains and such like. But he has fine rooms. اتاقای خیلی جانانه. And what any reasonable person would call plenty of everything. همه چیز هست. He has his old mother there too. اون مادر پیر خرم اونجا ورده. And his sister and husband. Quite a family party. And then there are servants and slaves in plenty. کلی خانواده جمع کردم محمد جان اینجا ورده اور خدمتکاره که چهار طرف میدوی چپ و راست. Hazara slaves? The girl asked, interrupting suddenly. Of course, Hazara slaves. The town still teems with them. Shar pura zinaya. Slaves of all sorts and ranks. Azur raqamsh ki bekhay. Why, you can buy a slave now for next to nothing. Al taqriban muft mitani bikhri ek dana ghulam. Ek kaniz. But they say the Amir gave Muhammad Jan his slaves and has offered his an Afghan wife, a member of his own tribe. Indeed, the girl answered sarcastically. A Hazara with Hazara slaves, huh? Alu zuru roz rasda ki Hazara dawal bersa ki nimshi dige nimra. یکش بگم ما آقای تیم دیگهش بگم ما غلام تیم دزی روز رسیدیم ای خاک دست سریم. What I said the other day then proves to be perfectly true. It is very easy for a traitor to prosper. تو نگفتم امروز که غداری کده ای ای وطن فروشی کده ای ای قوم را فروخته ای. Well, traitor or no traitor, he has known how to prosper where others have been ruined. تو نمفهمی تمام توبه و برباد شده ای کم از کم خود نگاه کده پیش ترقی کده پیش رفته. And I don't suppose the Hazara nation is one bit the worse off today for his treachery than it would have been without it. ای بدبختی حضرت محمد جان چی میشه سپنی خود پیش برده. خانواده خود نگاه کده اون کابل آورده خانه جور کده اون غلامه که چپ و راست میگردن نه خوردنی زده نومه. Had he, like your father, given up everything for what he is pleased to call patriotism, no one of us would have been one bit the better off. اور پدر تو هم اگر که او بسیار مغرور است که حب الوطنی کده و رفته برای ملک ملت خود جنگ رفته تمام مردبات خود ده مختمام بازم تم دباد رفتنی بودی. And he would be all the worse. So where is he to blame? چی بگیم دیگه حالا خود تمام تباه و برباد شده ما پدر است تو چیز اونجی ملامت کنم. Quite true, mother. آفرین راست گفتین علی. The girl said quietly. I don't suppose anyone would deny that. But what did he want you for? راست گفتی خب تو بوی چی میخوای او برای چیز تو خواسته بود خالی. Why did he ask you to his house? Oh, I think he wanted to show me how he lived. His fine rooms, his bedding, his Russian tea service. Service chai khori Rusi, as he calls it, and his servants and household generally. He seemed very much pleased with himself and anxious, I think, that you should know about it. Perhaps he thinks it may make you anxious to return to him. Perhaps he thinks that. The girl shivered. He said so, in fact, or as good as said so. Look here, mother. Mother Jan, I have a home here for Gulbegum. If she will but return. I'm still waiting to receive her, in spite of the cruelty with which she has treated me. But she must get her freedom from her master now at once. Bandiyar kas kya sta wo fauran khalas kada baya. Mind, I am not going to wait long. Ausila bas ausile khalas. If she does not come to me soon, I will find means of making her. And those means, I can tell you, won't be particularly agreeable to her, I should imagine. I know how I can get her. No matter how high the position of the official who owns her. This is a country where a man who is willing to help a neighbor to rid himself of an enemy can easily make a powerful friend, and I know Gulbegum's master's enemies. ما فقط متوجه دشمنای میکنه دا گوجایا. از اونها استفاده منو ما کار پیش مورد. They are good paymasters too. خوب روپی میدیا. And not over scrupulous. They have many agents throughout the country and spies in nearly every household, women as well as men. Network خرمجا كما قد مافيات الله ضرب كده هر خانة واسخطنا فريدرا. Let the chief secretary beware. المشير على را باخبر كانتو. If Gulbegum is only to be had by accomplishing her master's downfall, then he must fall. और खबर कोई मशीर आला रहा अगर बखातिर गुलबेगम तो मैं खाये तख्त बख्त रस दिस बिदी बस ब्याकेन मित्र कितने. That is no concern of mine. What I want is the wife that I have chosen. And I mean to have her. Let her come to me of her own accord. And I will receive her and give her a place of honor. Let her give me the trouble and the danger of forcing her. And when I have got her in my power, his face turned a shy pale when he said this. Gulbegum, let her give me the trouble and the danger of forcing her, and I will tear her to pieces. Tota totanum, qayla qaylanum shira, limb by limb. When I have got her, and the getting of her will not be so hard. It's not difficult for me. I'm not talking of what has not been done before and of what I have not planned. If you have any influence with your daughter, warn her. Ana mother jan family. Before long, it will be too late and beyond my power to stop. از حد که تیر کردی باز وقت تیر شد نمیشه. برو نار گاز مر بیرسن نو دجنا. But mother, what can that jackal do to hurt my master? اولاش خور چیز میتونه. دا آقای از مرد دیشی بیرسه. آقا stands far above him. برو سعی که تو آقا را سعی که. And out of his reach like a very elephant in the forest. مثل یک فیل در جنگل بری. او کیه روی بری آقای من. True, my daughter. راست مگی. True, but your elephant is sick and wounded, and he has lost much of his power. It then becomes your jackal's business to lead his master, the tiger, to find a supper. And what avail size and a strength that has vanished when the tiger's claws are deep in his stricken foe. You feel که تو بسیار دزو نازمانی در جنگل ای کسته ام بیماره ام زخم خورده و قوت زود ضعف تبدیل شده هیچ کارم نمیتونه یعنی می لاشخور فقط رفتنیه شیر خبر کردنیه و ما مگه یک لقمه تو بخور سعی بس ما بعد زود جمع منم. That is the true position, girl. یعنی قصه بچه. This jackal can do little enough himself. ایلاش خور خوش چندان کاره نیه. But he has powerful masters who know how to strike. And where. It seems to me quite clear that to secure your own position, you must make some sort of effort somewhere. کاری باید کنی. Mother, that man has been deceiving you. The girl said quietly, he would like to get me in his power that he may crush me, that he may tear my limb from limb, as he has said. If he can get me easily by my going to him of my own accord, so much the better for him. It would save him both time and trouble, but I would in no wise alter his treatment of me. I know that man. هیچ چیز تغییر دادن نمیتونه. وارچی که ما از دل خود برم ما نمیدونم فلان مشه ما میشناسم ورانه. You must remember I have lived with him. Take care that he does not make use of you to get information out of you. That seems to me to be the meaning of his invitation of his house. این حال فهمیدی که تو چرا خانه خوی کدت چون که میخوای از درون خانه خبرت درباره از ما معلومات نیلو همی کاره از دان تو گبر شونه. This is a country where a son is employed to spy on his father, a mother against her daughter. Take care what you say when you meet him. والله برتشنو موابي همی دان قربان بگه تو نمفهمی. I don't like your having any dealings with that man at all. جانم زوری لکو. Sometimes I think that it has been through you that he ever found out where I lived. ما باز وقت شک نم که تو چطور خبر شد که ما اینجیم. What did you tell him the first time you ever saw him? امروز اول چیز گفتی شیر مادر تو فکر کو. Will you try and remember, mother? I told him absolutely nothing. Except that you were with a man who was well able to take care of you. He had not the slightest idea who it was, Halima said, much offended. Walk here with me. Why? He has harshly designed to speak with me when he has met me till I saw him in the melon market. The Bazar Kharbuza. You have no idea what he thinks of himself now. He does not care to be seen speaking to a slave. I can tell you he is far too grand a man. There are plenty of people who could tell him where my daughter lives. I have made no secret of that. Why should I? Nor of your position here. The girl turned very pale. It had been easy enough indeed for Muhammad Jan to trace her when once he had met her mother. Any gossip with whom she dealt in the bazaar could have told him that the old woman's daughter was the chief secretary's slave. Of what else besides might she not have boasted? Zalim. That was chapter 32, ladies and gentlemen, young and old and small and big, wherever in the Hazara communities around the world you may be. This was a part of presentation of the cultural legacy, cultural heritage, I should say, intangible. That's why it has been told as a story to you to inspire the pain that connects you to the end of 19th century and stretches to 20, and then it is seen again in the beginning of 21st century. Can we sit in the 20 and see the 19 and 21 and see how our future is going to be? How much ibrat? Tahqiq matlab se, why this happened? Why are we talking about genocide? That's the culmination of the great game of the end of 19th century. What games are being played now? Great games, grand games, world-level games. Do we play? Are we players, spectators, watchers, sufferers? Or are we the ball from which is being kicked around here and there? What is our position actually in this pioneer's library? We would like to remember in the sports legacy, that's a sports book. On the top of it is Hazara Pioneer's Library. اگر عبرت رहे تحقیق مطلب سر کند بی دل همین یک پیش پا دیدن با عقبا می برد ما را. Thus, if the pioneers were only warriors, the kind of society that they left behind is today's society. Plus, we gotta go back and to the pioneers and say, Atai, why did you not study Magamo? Chiz rakam study Makadi, study. Ek logmanan na dashti mo pailud. A genocide farar kede, tu chiz dashta bashi, mo ek logmanan bailetr de. Now, in this 21st century, there is a logmanan available to many. But what about Logmai Jan? And that Jan is a society that separates its scholars from its warriors, Qalamkar and Alamdar. If they are separate, fighting azura ahmaqam kana, thinking azunara buzdila. And that's why a scholar warrior is what we are seeking to see in the grand children of the Hazara pioneers. That'll be all for today. Not today, I mean this piece. Soon I will see you again. Thank you, Chagar, for making this happen and manifesting it to the world. You are a star at the night time.